Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left is David Williams. Now, before we get started on the show, I just want to remind you guys, go over to fantasywgl.com and check on your fantasy rosters. There has been a rollback, so your picks might not be what you thought they were. So go over there to fantasywgl.com and, again, check your rosters to make sure that you have the guys that are playing tonight. And as you do that, also check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA, and also follow us on Twitter @WGLNA, so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you.
Panic at the roster screen.
Panic at the roster screen, indeed.
Also, check out battleviewer.com if you haven't already for the same Twitch chat you already use,
Yeah.
plus easy access to our YouTube, Twitter, match listings, match standings, and of course, fantasy, which you're probably already on.
Yeah, so again, change those guys right up. As we're ending out our 7th week now of Season 2, the theme of the week has been armor and using your armor. So last show on Tuesday, we kind of talked about which one would be the most effective, and the one that bounced the most shots was damage, was definitely the T22 by a long shot, but I believe the E5 was the one at the end of the night to bounce the most.
Yes, the E5 is a great tank for all sorts of different reasons, and armor is certainly one of them.
Yeah, so this has been kind of a theme. So tonight we're going to be talking about the question of the day. Will it have something to do with armor? And we're talking about wall hugging, which we haven't really kind of seen and pointed out yet. Hauling downing.
Hulling down, I think, is the right way to do that, but I'm not sure, as I'm not a professional linguist.
Robert Hauling Downing Jr. That's my favorite one so far. So armor, guys, that is the theme. Now let's take a look at what happened on Tuesday. We had 4 matches for you guys. Up first, Ping losing to Simp 1-5, followed by High Voltage beating 07 5-4. Third, Googly Bobbers losing to Caller Wanted 2-5, and finally close the night, Rival beating Yo 5-2. Let's walk through these one at a time. Up first, Ping versus Simp. Start out on Himmelsdorf. Ping picked up their first victory there, but Simp came back winning 3. But it was really fun. We kind of talked about just looking at this new Simp, of the new additions, performing amazingly so far, kind of where they've come in the season. Up next, we can go on to Ruinberg, where Simp found their final couple games, ending up 5-1. Some of the things you remember from that first match.
Well, the debut of Drogon for Ping worked out quite well. Overall, Himmelsdorf was some really exciting matches. Ping did a great job in game 1. Simp barely lost that particular set. But overall, Simp's movement and dynamics on Himmelsdorf is something we haven't seen in quite a while. A lot of timing strategies, a lot of things where they're moving in certain places, knowing where their enemy could possibly be, and just eliminating variables. And I love that kind of strategy. I think there's a huge place for success in WGLNA if they keep it up. So I'm eager to see them play again.
All right, up next we had High Voltage versus 07. A really exciting match. We started out on Clips. 07 dominated High Voltage, picking up 4 victories there. Then we go into Mines, and High Voltage did the exact opposite, did the same to 07, picking up 4 victories, tied it up, going to Muravanka with a crazy close tiebreaker. High Voltage picking up that 5th victory. Some of the things you remember from that second match.
07 dominated Cliffs for a number of reasons. High Voltage was hesitant to go to the middle, and 07 just completely annihilated them when they did. They got to a point where High Voltage ran away from a 6v4, which just left me scratching my head. But they got it a lot back together on Mines, so kind of a dynamic spread defense that 07 wasn't really ready to play. Why Mines was allowed to be played against High Voltage at all, I can't even possibly fathom that. Was not something you would let happen. But Muravanka was great on 07's part in a number of ways, and great in High Voltage's part in a number of ways. But what it came down to was perhaps a little bit of too many people on cap for 07, and then wall hacks and KT just bringing it home with the right shots at the right time. Wall hacks in general, just hero mode throughout most of that set.
Yeah, really. He is the one putting in for #1 scout.
I think he has it right now. Yeah, it's going to take a lot for somebody to upset him.
All right, so that's the target to look out for, guys, if you're looking to take over wall hacks. Up next, Caller Wanted versus Googly Bobbers. Started out on Sand River. Caller Wanted showing some amazing timing strategies again. That being kind of the theme of the night, cutting off Googly where they were, and but Googly did a good job countering, tied it up there 2-2. Moving on then into Muravanka, where Caller just found their final victories. Some things you remember from that third match.
Really, Caller Wanted's just continuously getting better and better and better as we see them play. Their Muravanka play might be the best in the league right now. It's hard to say because we haven't seen them necessarily go against some of the best teams around. Although I couldn't even tell you who that is right now. And the current play, I mean, I could tell you who's where in the standings, but judging by how some of the top teams in the standings have been playing, I don't know if they could beat Caller Wanted in an extended set or 07 in an extended set. I mean, all of them are too close to call, but Caller Wanted, in particular, Aggressor, is just killing it in the bad chat on that.
Gosh.
Seems like their strategy largely relies on him kind of swinging into an area and just doing what he does best, and he
He does it.
He does it well.
And finally, we had Rival versus Yo. Rival picking up that victory 5-2. Started on steps. Rival lost one. Seemed like they went a little too aggressive on a Prorovka. Yo did an amazing aggressive play there, something that you really liked watching. Rival found their final victory. Some things you remember from that third or fourth and final match.
You said it. Rose up and over the middle on Protorovka was something I've been waiting to see all season.
So fun.
And it's probably one of the only games I've been able to look at where a lower ranking team beat a higher ranking team, and it's just flat out. They did everything right, and the other team didn't necessarily make a big mistake or anything like that.
Wow.
Rival just wasn't ready for it strategically with their positions where they were right off the bat, and Yo took advantage of it and brought it home, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of that.
All right, that was our matches, guys. Before we get into what's going on tonight, remind you guys to go to fantasywgl.com. If you're not there already, go to Battle Viewer where you should be and push that button in the bottom right-hand corner. It'll just put up the fantasy site. You guys build your 7 players on a team who will play tonight. As they play, they accumulate points for you guys. Points lead to tons of prizes, like you guys know. In-game premium time, in-game gold, and in-game premium tanks with the Hype 59 you can't get anywhere else. So go over there and do that. Reminding you also, we are partnering with Vulcan this season. So go over to Vulcan.com, use the code word World of Tanks for another WGLNA opportunity for even more prizes. So it's going to be fantastic. Go over there. What you guys are seeing at the bottom of your screen are David and I's picks for tonight. And again, reminder, if you guys weren't there early on the pre-show, go over. There has been a rollback. Check and make sure the picks that you thought you had are the ones that you have right now. You don't want any points to be lost. That were, I mean, that's rage mode. That's tilt territory.
Because it rolled back to my Tuesday picks for me. And at first, I was like, no, my roster's fine. Wait a minute.
Yeah, like 5 players I had to remove. It would have been catastrophe.
So I think we both obviously went with Master Pupil as kind of our #1 pick there. I think we both expect eClipse versus Color Wanted to potentially be the most dynamic, the longest game. But they're diametrically opposing types of styles. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into that segment. But for fantasy, I didn't put anybody in the high voltage game at all. Who knows where that could go? It's just not worth the risk for me. So I overweighted it to Color Wanted eClipse. 07 versus Noble, a similar deal. It could go a long way. Either way, even if it's a 5-0, Vetro always gets his points.
Oh, so many points.
Always gets his points.
You guys know Vetro when 07's playing, you guys are doing something wrong.
Vetro and Canadian Impact. Anytime they play, I pick them both.
That's it.
And then it's the same thing for Ding. Anytime they play, I'm going to pick Papa Dijon. And Mr. Man is the #1 for AM60s right now, and I think that game, both of them are kind of in a similar space, so I think that's the best way to spend the points for today.
Yeah.
And while I'm fairly confident in the decisions I made, I'm not confident they're actually going to work today because it's just been chaos in the ranks over the past couple weeks.
So many teams like showing up that you're not expecting to. So many things you're expecting to show up don't. And like I said, anything can happen here. It's going to be super fun to watch. And as we're closing our 7th week, we're getting close to playoffs, getting close to the finals. So these teams are they really got to turn it on right now. So let's take a look at the 4 matches that we have tonight for you guys. Up first is going to be eClipse versus Color Wanted, followed by DNA versus Aquatic M60s. Third, Googly Bobbers versus High Voltage. And finally, close of the night, Noble versus 07. David, out of the 4 matches, which one are you most excited to see? Who do you think's going to take it?
That would be Color Wanted versus Eclipse.
Oh, yeah,
because this battle also helps decide playoff rankings. And both of them are definitely in the running for the playoffs, and they need to win this in order to keep it up. Eclipse has to be Color Wanted right now if they really want to get that lead in the event that they end up getting close. I believe both of them are going to make the playoffs anyways. I haven't run the numbers all the way down to all the eventual possibilities, just the likeliness. Both of them will probably make it. So this is still an important match to see where they rank and who they potentially face off against. And I think, like I said, they're diametrically opposing teams strategically. Eclipse is a little bit more methodical. Color Wanted is definitely more fast and loose.
Yeah.
And that one is definitely the answer to the other. It just depends on the day. Sometimes fast and loose ruins the slow play.
So the cash win too.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's just really going to depend on who shows up to play and who's feeling the most confident and who goes on tilt first.
Definitely going to be my pick of choice as well. Also looking forward to see Noble versus 07. I mean, 07 just took it to High Voltage.
Yeah.
I want to see if that confidence brings them to be able to take it toe-to-toe against Noble. So fantastic plays. Guys, let us know right now in chat which battle you are most excited to see as we are now closing out our pre-game show. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't go anywhere. Match #1 is coming right up. Yes, getting rammed there by EC3M6. Lemming Rush is the only one up. Four-color wanted, 6 over 1,200 points of damage. They're going to try and push him off the cliff. They're going to push him off the cliff, and there he goes. The team diving in. They all want to go for a swim. Scriven knows where Wallhacks is in that 251. He's going to go for him. Meanwhile, Jan's around taking some damage from the back. Bird Thief lighting up Papa DeJean there from, where's he at, the K4 position. And Wallhacks getting some damage to him as well.
He could win this. He could win this.
We'll see if he does. He's one more shot away, and he won it. He did. He picked it up.
But Noble's going to go east. I don't know if that's a better engagement area than going west.
Wait. Can I just point something out here? Wallhacks just went over and knocked over this tree, right? And then he backed away and is now going to go boost here. Did he knock that over to trick the artillery to thinking that they're going up on that side? Or was that...
Probably.
I mean, that is brilliant.
That is...
Look at it. It totally worked. It totally worked. The artillery shot the tree. The reset goes through, and now they just started to buy their time. 649 going on the 907. Aggressor, though, taking down EC3M6. A beautiful shot there coming out from him. Over the Prime missing a shot onto Delph, and Aggressor finds Droxus. Finally, Over the Prime does pick him up, and now Over the Prime in a really good position to possibly just stay safe. He is lit up, though. He's gonna go down. Aggressor. What a shot. Reset go, they're going there for high voltage. One more shot, Tigers go down. Milton comes in and picks it up, and that looks like it is all over. 4 members for high voltage against the 6 Fort Noble. 38 seconds on the clock. Germ takes down Oxty. Milton now has control over the western cap here. Bullying Anthem off. Canadian Impact now coming in to join him. Dodo finds Blue Boys, and this is Noble kind of showing that this is why we're on top. This is why we won last season's champions. It's going to be the high wolves kind of go back to the drawing board with a lot. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. If you're not watching this on battleviewer.com, go over there right now and check it out. And finally, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you. You guys can also do something new, so pay attention. If you guys aren't listening right now, we're going to be bringing Quinn in next Thursday to answer your questions. So you guys can tweet at us @WGLNA using the hashtag mailbag. Again, hashtag mailbag to ask us questions about whatever you guys want. You have questions about WGLNA? Ask those away. Quinn will be coming in to answer those questions here live next Thursday, so make sure you guys take opportunity of that. Again, hashtag mailbag @WGLNA. Also on Twitter, you can answer for us the question of the day.
Which tier 10 is your favorite in Hull Down?
Yeah. So I generally the tanks that I play aren't haul down tanks, but I know for sure that the E100 is not one of those. It is not a haul down tank.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
the hull's pretty important.
You just get shot in the face.
Yeah, you just get heat in the grill.
Heat in the grill all day.
Not good.
So not the E100, David.
I'd have to go. It's kind of cheating. I'd have to go with the E3 because you just can't penetrate it if it's hull down.
That's not
cheating.
cheating.
But other than that, I like the E5 quite a bit. I'm sure one of our players is going to give me an answer, and I want to agree with that as well. I love hull down, and I love tanks.
All right, guys.
Go hull down.
Let us know what your answer is right now in chat as we bring up the standings here as we're closing out our 7th week of Season 2. Up in first place, Simp with a whopping 23 points, followed by High Voltage and Noble. Color Wanted rival going down there, eClipse, 07, and Yo. And again, the kind of the number to look at is those top 8 positions. Those are the guys going to be going into the playoffs and then have a shot for the finals. But Simp still very strong up on top there, 23 points. And looking at how many more games do you know off the top of your head? Do you know how Simp has to play?
I believe they have 1 left to play.
Okay.
And yes, they have 1 left to play against Googly Bobbers, so they'll probably end up roughly around 26 points. Is a good idea, or is a good guess. That should be, if all the predictions of mine turn out correct, that should guarantee them at least 3rd.
Wow.
But we'll have to see.
Well, anything can happen here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first match is about to get underway. The face-off's ready. On the side of eClipse, we have Master Pupil. On the side of Color Wanted, we've got no one. So, Master Pupil, I'm going to go ahead and start off with you. Hey, how's it doing? Yeah, how's it doing? Now we just got this kind of one-on-one time.
Pretty good.
Maybe we can know each other a little more, you know. Yeah, anyway, we'll get into that later. I'm going to talk to you about the roster changes that you guys went through. You guys added Militaris. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
Militaris and Brett. So how are they gonna fit into the team?
Well, first off, it helps a lot that we finally have a solid lineup all year, or all season, I should say. We've had an inconsistent lineup. Like, there's not been a single consecutive game where we've had the same lineup. Maybe the last two, I think, have been the same. But I mean, it's really hurt us. So we're hoping with Brett and Militaris, two highly active players and highly skilled players, we'll be able to step up as a team.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see how that guys works out for you guys.
All right, people, what's your favorite tier 10 and hold down?
I mean, I think the IS-7's the only tank I can really count as a hold down tank. I mean, because the gold meta on the or the premium ammo usage on the NA server, there's not too many tanks that can really hold down effectively. The 113 would be nice, but of course, heat slices right through it, so I'd have to go with an IS-7.
All right, and I have one more question for you. Have you set up a place where we can donate to get you a new TV or something? Because that thing is older than you are.
It really is, actually.
So we saw like a hashtag people fund. Yeah, just start that.
I don't know. We'll come back to this later.
Yeah, we'll come back to this way later.
By
All right.
that we mean never again.
Pupil. Now, again, we don't have anyone to kind of give any final words to, so this is your time to kind of take any shots you want. Color Wanted can't even respond. So if you were to say something to Color Wanted, what would you say?
Well, I was hoping Lemming Rush would do the face-off so I could ask him if he'd teach me how to re-roll effectively, but I mean, seeing as they can't show up for the face-off, I can't really do that.
Sure, yeah. So that wasn't even it at all. All right, Master Pupil, best of luck to you guys, and we'll see you shortly. That was a very sly way of doing that.
Yeah, set him up for it nicely. like you said, Militaris and Brett joining eClipse, and for Color Wanted, that is Dr. Halo and Smiley Rage, players to look out for. We saw both of those two play for Color Wanted last time on Tuesday, and they did quite well. Here is the match screen for FantasyWGL.com for this particular game. Eclipse favoring Prorovka in the 140. Color Wanted Cliff in the T22. Both of those make a lot of sense. Master Pupil, man, you just saw, and the leading scorer for Eclipse. Delph, the leading scorer for Color Wanted, and I've actually gotten word that he won't be playing today, which is awful for my fantasy team again. I swear, I looked over it for the longest time trying to decide if I was going to go Magenta Panda or Delph. And I was like, you know what? Delph's been playing the T22. He played like a boss last time with a crazy angling. I got to do it. But unfortunately, he can't be here today. So we wish him well and hope he can get back relatively soon.
Yeah, we'll see who kind of fills his spots as the night progresses. And like you said, David, you kind of want to talk about this. In the pregame show, we touched on it. These two teams, polar opposites.
Yes. Eclipse tends to be more methodical, a little bit slower in how they get things done. And Color Wanted doesn't really play into that meta. You have to have an airtight strategy
to break
if you don't want to allow Color Wanted to get outside of what you're doing. And if you're playing a spread defense or a spread offense the way that Eclipse does, you can find one of your units overwhelmed very quickly from an alternative angle that you don't expect because you're running things on a timetable. And Color Wanted, they're just doing it the way when they see it, when they want it.
They react.
And your strategy to handle that has to be perfect. But if it is perfect, Color Wanted can't break it. So it's kind of a two-way street.
This is going to be fun to see.
It's going to come down to who shows up to play tonight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first battle is about to get underway. Eclipse versus Color Wanted. Let's see who wins. Will it be calm? Will it be crazy? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
For Eclipse, 2E5s, a 907, an STB, 2 T22s, and an RU251. Color Wanted, 2E5s, an STB, 2 T22s, a 62A, and a 1390. You know, we don't actually see the 62A all that often.
Huh. I was going to say.
In the league in favor of, obviously, the 140, and mostly the 907. Some of the reasoning there, from what I know and what I understand, a lot of it comes down to a little bit of player preference. You get a little bit more depression out of the 140.
Oh, okay.
1 more degree, which actually adds up to be quite a bit. or feels like quite a lot. 140 is my favorite out of them all. The 430 has the highest DPM. Dark God Zim there taking one shot from Smiley Rage all the way there in the back. And didn't look like he got a whole lot of scouting out of that, so that is in some of a sense a failed run. However, he does know that obviously the 62A is down there. There's a good chance that he was able to read that damage. But eClipse already putting on cap pressure in the west.
Very aggressive.
And this is a little bit of a meta play from what I've seen in the past, as Caller Wanted has definitely demonstrated that they like to favor the eastern side. And if you give them the time, if you don't go quickly to the west, like eClipse is doing, then Caller Wanted sweeps through the east and they bottle you up in here.
do.
Getting ahead of this timing is super important for eClipse, and this could herald some great things. Perhaps the first team to quite frankly shut down Caller Wanted's Murovanka play, but we will find out. With 9 seconds left on the clock, Caller Wanted has to make a big play.
It looks like it's going to have to fix reload in that E5 to take a shot. He sees draw cap. A shot goes on to him. Nothing happens. 2 seconds on the clock. He needs to connect. His shot missing. Going right over the top of Mord, but from the side, draw cap takes 3 to 9 there. The reset comes through. It's at 5 seconds here. Can they continue it? Can Caller Wanted keep finding him? It is aggressive, doing a great job finding that. Keeps on pushing the clock back, and now the rest of the team is here. Caller Wanted now in a position where they can regularly reset the cap. Let's see how eClipse responds here. 42 seconds more, gonna barrel off there, and it looks like eClipse have decided to give up and just go for a kill here. They're going to barrel down onto Aggressor. Tigers and more of the two T22s going up against an STB1. T1 Diabetic taking 309, and that is cap pressure gone for eClipse. Caller Wanted successfully pushing him off there, but Aggressor taking a lot of damage, over 1,000 points, and Tigers takes him down in that STB1. Fix reloaded. Meanwhile, on the side of Caller Wanted, we'll be going down to T1 Diabetic. That is 2 tanks fallen for Caller Wanted, and not a single one for eClipse so far. Magenta Panda taking a lot of damage. eClipse doing a great job pulling Caller Wanted to them and now punishing them for every single move that they make. Master Pupil finishing off Magenta Panda there. Beautiful focus fire coming out for eClipse. Brett takes Lightning Rush. Not a single tank has fallen for eClipse so far. Caller Wanted now down to 3. Smiley Rage picks up the first kill for his team, but he goes down quickly to Tigers in that T22, leaving just Dr. Halo and Permablue left. And it looks like this is eClipse's first battle here, shutting down Caller Wanted's Murovanka play.
Great game there by eClipse. Even though they did probably camp that cap just a tad too long, it's hard to fault them for it because they almost did achieve it. Tigers probably could have swept down the one line a little bit further to guarantee Aggressor couldn't get that reset, but I'm just nitpicking. That was very well executed for the most part, and once things got messy, eClipse fought their way out of it. That's a situation where a lot of teams, they get so caught up in the cap when it gets reset like that, they just break and everything goes chaotic.
It's over, it's over.
And eClipse held us together in that instance, and that is incredibly important for what's going to happen here in the future. But now it's Caller Wanted's chance to try and answer back. While we can, let's go ahead and check out those numbers.
Let's do it.
Draw cab leading off for eClipse with 27.84 in the E5. Brett follows that up with 26.27. A great start for him. The first game he's played in so far.
Welcome, Brett.
T1 Diabetic, 23.52. Tigers, 22.35. Master Pupil all the way down there at 12.79. I shouldn't say it that way, all the way down there.
12.79.
Strategically, he was doing exactly what he should.
Okay.
So, hard to hate. Permablue, his T22, 23.67, bounced 1,500. Aggressor, 2,000 out of his STB. Magenta Panda, 1.6 in the E5.
Man, fantastic damage coming out there. But like you said, the teams that do, because you do see that a lot when like the cap pressure down like 1 second, then it goes to 0, but it gets reset, and the teams just generally fall apart there because it seems like once a defensive team can get the first reset, it's usually over, but not there. eClipse found a way to fight out.
Yeah, and there'll be a couple of different situations in which that kind of thing happens. One is sometimes it's a last-ditch effort. They're losing tanks, so they pile on a cap, and once they get reset, it is over.
Okay.
And you see it, and you see them panic, but it's over anyways, and there's not much they can really do about it. I mean, you always want to try and play your way out of it because the other team makes a mistake, and now you're back in the game, right?
Sure.
But that's easy to say, hard to do. Trust me. Once you practice this a lot, it can get down to a point where you take half damage on one tank at the beginning of the game and can already start feeling like, oh, this is just over. We practice this 100 times, and every time that happens, we lose. But game day is different.
Sure. As we see, game day can be crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's Caller Wanted's turn to be on the offense. Let's see if they can take it back to eClipse, or if eClipse can find another one on defense. Right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
For Eclipse, we have an E5, 2140s, a 907, two T22s, and an AMX 1390. For Caller Wanted, a 215, an IS7, a Bat Shed, an STB, two T22s, and an AMX 1390 of their own. So what I was saying before is the 907 is the second highest DPM out of all the mediums, I believe. Trying to remember off the top of my head, I think it's 3.65 thousand, so 3,650 DPM on the accounts that they're playing, with maxed out skills,
all the crew,
everything.
Yeah.
Or all the equipment, all the consumables, everything. And the top there goes the Object 430 at 3.7, but the difference is between the 430 and the 907. The 907 is just a better tank, and it's worth sacrificing that little bit. Right behind that, I was actually talking with one of the captains about this kind of stuff, just almost broke confidentiality, even though this doesn't really matter. It's just tank numbers. Talking with them a little bit about it. STB has the third highest. We'll get into that if we see a little bit more play of that. But Dr. Halo getting lit up right off the bat by almost everybody from Eclipse.
Found every single member right there, and he will no longer be playing this battle as his tank is gone.
That scouting spot did not work according to plan, is my guess.
Tigers now looks like Eclipse is gonna start pushing up against Magenta Panda and Permablue, who are getting out of there as quick as possible, but maybe not quick enough. Magenta Panda 563 there. The 5B trying to find some cover, bouncing a nice shot, bouncing another one. That's pretty good, and not the third. Third time's a charm there. 306. Eclipse gonna continue pushing in. It looks like they might have caught Caller Wanted in a pretty interesting position here. As not all of them were set up and ready for this aggressor. 635 in that bat chat. And that is on the member, as we were talking about David praising him so much for his Muravanka play. Some of the shots he gets in that bat chat are absolutely insane.
Basically, the scout play that we praised Wally for is the same thing Aggressor's doing in the bat chat. And we'll definitely keep an eye out for other players, because I'm sure there are more who are honorable mentions but they don't get a chance either on screen. But Magenta Panda going down to Tigers there. And, well, honestly, the rest of Eclipse, as he was caught out long before. Drawcab is actually now getting a little bit of reversal as Lemming Rush and Fixer Reloaded are firing at it from two sides.
Lemming Rush is going to take him down. The T22 Master People not getting there in time, and now he takes a shot from Smiley Rage on top of the hill. They're looking for Fixer Reloaded. Mort coming to join the fight, but Master People getting lit up. Look at that focus fire coming out for Caller Wanted. All 5 members on the same tank. Beautifully done there. Fixer Reloaded still alive, and now Eclipse down to 5. Mort takes Fixer. Aggressor finds Tigers, and Smiley Rage takes down Mort. 3 members on Eclipse against the 4 of Caller Wanted. They are clawing their way back, and now they have taken the lead as far as tanks and HP goes, and they're going to continue it as T1 Diabetic is getting pelted from the back on that Object 140. Lemon Rush going head-to-head there against Brett. Doing a good job staying alive. Brett has a shot up. Lemon Rush turns, takes down T1 Diabetic. Brett might be able to take down Lemon Rush here, but he will not be able to survive for much longer as Smiley and Permablue are gonna surround him. They're gonna take down this 907, leaving just Dark God Zim and his 1390. Caller Wanted now is gonna pick up a win on offense here onto Muravanka, showing that this is still their map and they still know how to play it.
Well, that's certainly changed quickly.
Yep.
What looked like a pretty guaranteed win for Eclipse, they're completely on its side when they had a few of their players probably played a little bit over, got caught out trying to make positive trades, but the strategy around the positions that they gave up just cost them a little bit too much.
Whew. Now, would one of those positions, one of those spots be when they were pushing after they got the kill in the 1390 and they see a couple of those tanks in the center and be like, oh, let's just go chase them and take them down?
Actually, getting the 215 was exactly what they needed to do as well. And then it was kind of those weird fights they had going on in the south. It was 2 tanks on 2 tanks, a lot of that allowed some of
to come back.
Some of Caller Wanted to start coming back.
Sure.
Plus, you can never discount Aggressor in a bat chat. If he can come in at the right place at the right time, you thought you had a 1-tank advantage, or maybe you thought you had a 2-tank advantage. Both of them are at half. One bat chat will even that out really quickly, but let's see exactly what happened here in the numbers.
All right, let's go to stats.
Brett, one of those guys in the south, had a quite frankly, a great game.
Wow.
25-98. If I had known this was going to happen, maybe I would have picked him.
Yeah, Brett.
Well, I would have. Mort in the T22, 1668 to draw cab at 1.6. So looks like Pupil either got caught out and annihilated relatively quickly. I didn't get it in a camera angle to get a really good grip on what happened to these two, but something pretty rough. That's fact. Now over here, for Caller Wanted, Smiley Rage 3.3 in the STB,
done.
2.9 out of Permablue, 2,000 out of Lemming Rush, Aggressor 1.8. So he got in a little bit over 2 clips. one full clip for damage. So probably doing a good bit of kind of wiggling around while he's sniping. What the 640 block by armor? That's unlikely, to say the least, in a bad shot. Unlikely. Those are ricochets more often than not.
Good job, Aggressor. Doing the impossible. Now, talking about Eclipse being the more methodical, planned out team, and Color Wands being the more kind of aggressive in your face. Right there, Eclipse.
Historically.
Right there, Eclipse doing almost the
Yeah.
opposite, going very aggressive
Yeah.
to the forest.
They've been aggressive so far this entire set, so perhaps those were growing pains of a sort. I mean, I'm not going to classify that kind of play as a problem
Sure.
on its own. I mean, you always want to have as many different types of play as possible,
Mix
but
it
it's
up.
difficult to get your team to be able to flex around and change that. It's a state of mind. You have to be aggressive and then patient, and those two things don't necessarily go together very well.
They're kind of generally opposites here. All right, well, it is all tied up 1-1. Back into Mervanka, switching sides again. Let's take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Eclipse with an Action X, 2 140s, 2 T22s, a 62A, and an RE251. Color Wanda with 2 E5s, an STB, two T22s, a T62A, and an AMX 1390. So it was Smiley Rage in the STB last game. Now this game it's Aggressor. No bat chat to be seen in this set at all.
Nope.
So interesting selections going on there. One of the things, so we began talking about the STB. Let's take a little bit more of analysis of this. It's essentially this and the Leopard 1 are actually very similar.
Okay.
Except this has better turret armor.
I was going to say, Leopard 1's kind of paper armor.
Right. This has better turret armor. The Leopard 1 has better gun handling. The STB obviously has worse gun handling. But it has a higher rate of fire, so it has the third highest DPM out of all the mediums at Tier 10.
Wow.
From what I understand, I haven't actually done the calculations on DPM for the Batchat, because that's just weird. Batchat in TVP. It's strange to run those calculations because DPM doesn't really do it justice. It's like largely burst. Hold on.
Yeah, Eclipse doing the same thing, but now in offense.
This is interesting. Literally all of them are in the East.
Not yet. Not a single member anywhere to be seen.
That is strange.
Besides the magical
That is
forest.
strange. You have Dr. Halo over here in the 1390, sweeping up the western side. He's got to be feeling awkward about this right now. I mean, you can see some of the paths he's taking. All the paths he was just taking had terrain that he could kind of hide behind
Just in
and
case.
angles that he could run to. And now, after he's kind of gingerly sorted this area out,
He's like, I'm good.
he's on a much more aggressive straight line path because honestly, this is that's the kind of thing that gets you in trouble sometimes as a scout. And it's normal. You're like, oh, there's no way they're here. Why would they ever be all the way up here? And then you find a bunch of people. But that's usually a public match kind of thing, not so much WGLNA, as WGLNA is fairly reliable, and there already was some contact in the east. So Dr. Halo's now cleared out the entire western side of the map.
Caller Wanted
Eclipse-
knows exactly where they are.
Eclipse has really limited their options. And you said it. Caller Wanted knows exactly where Eclipse is inside the magical forest.
Jeez.
That usually you don't want to go into. But if we take a quick look over here, Fixer and Magenta Panda are both already in the forest starting to cut off angles. They've got some of the mediums trapped down there. The only angles we've got for escape Eclipse is going out of the northern side. They're sending a T-22 up to try and clear that out.
More going head-to-head now against Dr. Halo, followed by Dark Odds Zim and the RU251. They're taking shots. Dr. Halo doing a great job dodging a lot of them. Meanwhile, Dark Odds Zim taking some 394 going into him. Dr. Halo again dodging shot left and right. What a scouting path indeed. It looks like he's going to get out of there while Drawcap starts taking some damage. And now Eclipse is committed too many tanks. Color Wanted knows they have an overmatch, and they're just going to take it head-to-head against Eclipse here. Tiger's taking 813. That object 140. Drawcap's going to go down to Delph. The first tank falling for the side of Eclipse. And Delph is playing tonight. There he is, guys. Tigers taking some more bit of damage there. 774 actually. Magenta Panda finishing him off there. Fixture Loader might go down for Color Wanted, but it looks like Color Wanted should have this one in the bag. T1 Diabetic takes down that E5. Now Master Pupil has to be careful himself. 488, 265 going into him. One more shot from the back, and he should be going down here. Delph falls to T1 Diabetic. Magenta Panda finds Master Pupil. Aggressor takes down T1 Diabetic. And now just 3 tanks for Eclipse against the 5 for Color Wanted. This is Color Wanted's game, no problem.
Time to be a hero,
22.
Brett. No, I'm just kidding. That's impossible. Action X has basically no armor, but a lot of depression, or at least a good amount of depression. It's hard for me to get into the actual analysis of the exact angles of depression for each tank, because I haven't played a lot of them in a long time. I've played a lot of them, but I can't exactly just look at it and go, yeah, that's
Oh, yeah, that's
9 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I go into the actual stat page, there's a lot more stuff that I need to focus on learning
Sure,
than actual
sure.
depression numbers. So all I can say is it's got a good amount of depression. Actually, a lot of depression in my anecdotal evidence, my anecdotal experience.
All right. Well, but congratulations there to Caller Wanted for picking up another victory here onto Muravanka. And yeah, it just seems like eClipse sending all of their. This is, I guess, one of those reasons why you don't send all of your members to a single map location.
Yes, there was definitely a lot of strategic error going on there for eClipse, followed by a lot of player error. Everything goes hand in hand. Let's look at the stats.
Let's do it.
Brett, 3.1 for eClipse.
Welcome, Brett.
And
Man.
that's pretty much all it's worth talking about on that
Jeez.
side. Welcome to the league, dude.
Welcome to the league, indeed.
Great job. Permablue, 3.4 out of his T22. Magenta Panda, 2.7. Aggressor, 2,000. Smiley Rage, 1.9. And Delth, 1.3.
So if you're eClipse and you commit all of your guys to a single area, and the moment you catch someone out, I feel like that would be your time to just push with everything you've got. Obviously, you're all in one area, and you're assuming that the enemy is not. Why, when they caught out that T22, didn't they just all collapse, take a kill, and just rotate as a single force?
Unfortunately, I couldn't. I was following around Dr. Halo at the time, talking about that area. I couldn't exactly see the exact terrain. So perhaps there are positional elements that prevent you from doing that. Where sure, you'll get the pick, you've got the isolation, but then you'll be trapped.
Okay.
So, but
Not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, they needed to break out somewhere, north or south. Honestly, taking everybody and just going north was probably one of the better options.
Okay.
But a spread defense would have been great. One thing to mention there was Permablue actually penetrated 11 out of 12 shots total in his C22 last set. So great job, Blue.
Wow, well done indeed. Now, Caller Wanted is up 2-1 against eClipse. Let's see if they can make it 3, or can eClipse come back and tie it up? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
eClipse with an E5, 2 140s, a 907, and 2 T22s, and an AMX 1390. Caller Wanted with a 215, an I7 Abat, Shat, a T22, an STB, and 2 T54s. For a second there, I saw all the objects in a row. 2 140s and a 907.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, oh, God, do we have 3 140s again? Nope.
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 They did a good
Not
job.
this time.
They learned their lesson.
Man, if that had happened at this point, making this match 1-3, oof,
That's
be a
that's
one-way ticket
That's some
to
tilt territory.
Tilt Town.
And that's a town you do not want to visit regularly.
No, I mean, out of all the different things that you can talk about creating tilt, little things like that are the worst.
Sure. I mean, you just
worst.
denied yourself an entire chance.
The only way you can possibly manage that is if you have such a dominant game over your opponent to where you're like,
You laugh.
oh, well.
Yeah, you laugh at it.
We'll give him one.
We'll give him one.
But in this kind of situation where you're down, down 1-2, and you're on defense and you're trying to make that up to tie it even,
tilt.
that destroy the entire team.
Also talking about the kind of importance for both these teams right now to pick up a victory here. I mean, that just adds that much more pressure to this match. And then obviously we can see how different teams handle that different kind of pressure. I know what you guys are seeing. Aggressor in the bad chat for Caller Wanted starting to apply some pressure of his own with the cap. Over there on the west side, the number 1 you guys see in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That is the mini-map. 9 seconds, some shots. Looks like they're just clearing out some stuff. Caller Wanted. And we'll see how eClipse responds to this. eClipse definitely this time playing a lot more, how would you say, to
Reserved.
form. Yeah.
A little bit more reserved. But
Yeah.
that's smart. They're up a game. They're on offense. They've got a nice spread. And they're just going to wait. T54 in the east. Dr. Halo spotting a little bit of movement coming at him from that direction. We'll see exactly
Now
what he
he's
can see.
spotting all of it.
Now he's got a T22, a 140. You already saw Dark God Zim. He will go down any second here, but it's going to cause a lot of time waste as eClipse can move in more of the west, knowing they've got a distinct overmatch on that E5.
They're adding Permablue in the IS-7 to the cap, followed closely by Delth, dropping it to 22 seconds. Dark on Zim finally taking down Dr. Halo there. And now Delth actually driving right by. Aggressor getting off the cap. They feel like they just want to go for the fight head-to-head in the center of the map here onto Muravanka. Permablue going to get off as well. They know that they have the object 140 coming behind them. They feel confident to do this. Draw cap taking a lot of damage. In the meanwhile, on that E5, Delth coming around the back, and he finishes him off there with help from Aggressor. 780 there going into that batch. Mort takes down Fix Reloaded. That is 2 tanks falling for Caller Wanted, just 1 for the side of eClipse. Again, eClipse needs this victory to tie it up. Colorwante would love this victory to have a nice lead going into the next map as T1 Diabetic takes down Aggressor. Delth now kind of backing off there. He's going to be surrounded by T1 Diabetic coming in from that object 140. Over 1,100 points of damage going to that T22. T1 Diabetic finishing off Delth. Smiley Rage finds Master Pupil. Just 3 tanks remain on Colorwante, and it looks like Eclipse is going to tie it up here. Onto Muravanka. Permablue taking just too much damage. 2,010. What a good year. Mort takes down Permablue there, just leaving Smiley Rage and Magenta Panda to fight for their lives. There's nothing they can do except for find a kill onto Mort. T1 Diabetic coming in for the ram damage. 13-22. Tigers from the back, and T1 Diabetic going to finish it off. Eclipse has tied it up now against Colorwante 2-2. So Dr. Halo found those tanks in the Magical Forest, went down for it, and instead of applying that cap pressure, they decided to go fight Eclipse. Colorwante did. Why do you think that was?
So Colorwante was trying to take off the few picks that they had, a 140 and an E5, before the rest of Eclipse was able to come across the middle town there to get in that fight. However, as soon as Eclipse had done about half damage to the T-54, they left it for Dark God Zim's 1390 to finish it up and immediately started shifting west. So they ended up catching Colorwante, who was trying to do that a little bit late. If Dr. Halo had gotten a better, more distinct scout on that unit, then perhaps they would have had the time to do what they needed to do. But let us look at the stats. Tigers, 4.2 in his 140. T1 Diabetic, 2.3. Mort, 1.9. Dark God Zim, 1.9 and a 1390.
Wow.
Nothing too shabby there
Not
at all.
at all.
And Brett, 1.8 in his 907. Of course, the 2 people I pick get focused and annihilated. Immediately. Before I close this, we're already going to say it. Delth is not going to be in top.
Is there some?
No. Hey, well, no. Again, he went down as well. It's rigged. It's rigged, everyone. I swear.
Is there some salt?
No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe a little bit.
I'm just kidding. What's happening here is a lot of these guys know each other, side to side. I mean, a lot of them play together, so they're probably actually very likely focusing out the top earners for each team. I mean, you saw Delth in that last game. He did get caught out a little bit in the middle, but people were going pretty hard to make sure they took down Delth.
Yes.
So, and that's good reason. I mean, we've seen him clutch a number of things. Aggressor and
Aggressor
Delth were 2 of the first people that went down on the team.
Coincidence?
Same as Drawcab and Master Pupil. Now, obviously, they need to start focusing Brett a little bit more.
Yeah, Brett's doing work. Where have you been this entire league, Brett?
Focus other people. Leave our fantasy players alone.
Yeah, guys. You got to make sure that Brett knows his place in the league. You can't let him just start racking up points. He's gonna get an inflated ego.
But for Colorwante, it was Smiley Rage leading off his
did a
STB
great
with
job, Brett.
3.1 thousand damage, and Magenta Panda with 1.8.
All right, fantastic. It is now, ladies and gentlemen, all tied up 2-2 between these 2 teams. Moving now into Ruinberg. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
For Eclipse, 250Bs, 2 215s, an E5, a Bat Shat, an RE251. Colorwante with a 215, 2 IS7s, a 907, a T22, a T62A, and an AMX 1390. Again with a 62A.
So, player preference. Yeah.
His player preference, I believe the 62A also has a more resilient roof on it.
Oh, okay.
And roofs are an issue when you get into overmatch, more likely than not. So when the size of a shell is so large that the armor calculation basically doesn't take place, it just overmatches what little armor is there and goes right through.
Wow. So, would a good roof also be good in haul down? Or are we talking about hatch?
Oh, it's the roof. Yes. So, say for example, it's one of the common reasons why I believe the 430 and potentially the 140. You'd have to forgive me if I get one of those wrong. Somebody in chat will help me out here. One of those has a very, very weak roof in comparison to a lot of stuff. So you could take a lot of guns and just fire right through it. Whereas 62A is a little bit more resilient.
Okay.
It's still not great, but it's more resilient. And yes, there is a difference between the roof and the hatch. The hatch is, the physical hatch on the tank, right? And typically that actually is one of the places you would penetrate.
Okay.
But the roof, if it's flat, kind of like this 907's is right here.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that has a little bit of ridge in it, which is actually one of the reasons why people like the 907 over the 430. A flat roof is generally very easy to penetrate all the way through. Dr. Halo going down in the northwest, trying to get some scouting runs to Tigers and Brett in a French heavy-medium duo. Delth going to try and move up the 0 line now under a lot of fire from eClipse, already lying in wait, but that does not mean that this strategy is over for them. A certain amount of damage to move into position is expected, but they really got to get something going before Tigers and Brett show up either on their side or rear and unload those French autoloaders.
ColorWanted trying to get control of this Delta Village before any other tanks come to join the party, pushing Master Pupil out as well. T1 Diabetic also on the other side. Smiley Rage and Master Pupil exchange some shots there. Not too much damage, but the rest of eClipse has now joined the side. Now here comes those shots from the side. It's going into Smiley Rage, 768. He has to find some more cover now, which is going to give that position he was doing under Master Pupil. Draw Cap taking some in return, but ColorWanted already a tank down and about 4,000 points of HP also gone for that team against eClipse. T1 Diabetic now starting to take a little bit himself, but not too much. And David, now that they've taken the Delta Village, the amount of HP that they've spent, was it worth it, do you think, their positions right now?
Probably not, as there's just such a gigantic amount for eClipse to come back from. We'll see if they can pull themselves out of it. They got T1 Diabetic a little bit trapped, but he is going to run away into firing solutions of his friendlies, and trying to pick him up is going to cost Aggressor maybe his life, but definitely a lot of hit points.
Oh, T1 Diabetic still just going on the side to take a shot there into Permablue, 317. He's not scared of nobody. Blue Mini taking 845. Blue Mini does take on T1 Diabetic, but Jenna Panda takes down Mort. Now 2 tanks have fallen for eClipse. But Brett starts the comeback here. Draw Cap taking down Blue Mini himself. 4 members remain for ColorWanted, all extremely low. Master Pupil finds Smiley Rage. Purple Blue taking 392 there. Delth finds Draw Cap. 4 members for eClipse against the 3 for ColorWanted. ColorWanted is on offense. eClipse knows they're at. They've got him surrounded here. The RE2500, my Dark Eyes Dim kind of locking their position from going anywhere. Master Pupil turns, takes a shot, takes down an I-7. Permablue falling down. Aggressor 205. Delth going. And this is just eClipse getting ready to close out this game. With their 2 final kills there, now increasing their victory 3-2 against ColorWanted. So in that situation, again, right in the beginning, Dr. Halo going down to that that scouting party, which seems this is the second or third time this has kind of happened early on. He goes for a scout, and he just is it just too aggressive? Is it not pathing? Is he wanting to do that to get like very good information?
If you're getting caught that consistently, it's too aggressive. You're not doing concentric circles in a sense where you're kind of always moving a little bit further while you do your loops.
Huh.
There's something about it, but perhaps there's an element of their strategic timing where it's okay if he gets caught. So sometimes you look at these kinds of things and you say, well, I'm going to shove my 1390 here. He's either going to get in behind him, or if he runs into anything, it means that we're overweighted over here.
So let's go.
And we go. But it doesn't always work out that way. Something can happen. Let's go ahead and look at the stats. See who came out on top that time. Master Pupil, 3.9 in his 215.
Hey-o.
As I get a little bit excited that maybe I won't end up in 200th place today. Tigers, 3.3 roughly. Draw Cab, 2.7 and 2K blocked. Brett with 1.7, still killing it. Game after game after game. Dark Odd Zim had a lot of shots into that area, but I was probably trying to fire heat and wasn't going to get through side of an IS-7 with that. Delth, 2.7K in his 907. Aggressor, 2.2. Smiley Rage, 2. We'll give him 2. And everybody else, 1.5 or lower. And actually, Permablue
Not
getting focused
anything
out.
Yeah, pretty early.
Almost immediately. We had that. That was in the 6th line. When eClipse came back, when their 50B and the Bad Chat came out of the Northwest, which was Brett and Tigers. When they came out, they moved into the 6th line with, I believe they had an IS-7 with them, something along that. They had another tank with them.
I think it was,
and they just lit up the Permablue's IS-7 and it was over.
Yeah, Delta Village was not a safe place anymore for ColorWanted to go to. And I'm looking at kind of the Dr. Halo strategy. When he did go down to those 2 tanks, they did have an overmatch, but they just didn't either capitalize on it quick enough. But how hard is it on Runeberg from where they're positioning, trying to go pushing into Delta Village? I mean, it feels like you can't do that quickly, can you?
You can, but not necessarily with the tanks that you would need to push through the other side against tanks like 215s.
Gotcha. So just not a good position to be in at all.
It's always a balance.
eClipse picked up that victory. They're now up 3-2. We are switching sides. Let's get right back into it and take a look at now what we've got for tanks.
eClipse with two 215s, a bat chat, two T22s, a TVP, and an RU251. For caller wanted, two 215s, an IS7, an E5, T22, a WE100.
Huh.
And
Dr.
an M40,
Halo.
M43.
And artillery.
The doctor is in.
The doctor is in. Let's see if Eclipse had their apples today. Let's see. I was saying, actually, I was gonna make the point. Dr. Halo basically a 1390 for most. I think he was in a T54 once, but being a scout. So man, when we saw him on Sand River, he was killing it in the artillery. Wondering when that was gonna come back. And ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Indeed. Sand River is an excellent artillery map. We've seen Ruinberg sometimes is, especially if teams want to try a
Every
northern
once in a
push.
while.
And it does help somewhat along the 890 lines as it prevents people from wanting to poke out in between buildings or even actually to angle sideways on the buildings because the splash out of an M40, M43 is just brutal.
Huh. We'll see what we'll see where Color Wanted utilizes that right now as they're putting a lot of members into Delta Village. Blue Mini getting spotted out by he doesn't know who yet. And Eclipse sitting here, looks like they might be going for a northern push as well. They've got Tigers, T1 Diabetic. I mean, this is the time I would assume as a team, you see the lineup, you see the M40, M43, you go, all right, we know where that's at most of the time. You know,
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be an A0, generally between A5 and A0, depending on what phase of the game that you're in, is where it has to be effective at all for the most part.
Sure.
Eclipse is going with kind of a split cap strategy. There might have blown the opportunity there. It's hard to say, as they have three mediums in the northwest, but Aggressor's IS7 has been spotted and has taken a little bit of damage. So it's hard to say exactly where he thinks that came from and where he thinks he was spotted from. There's a decent chance. I'd have to see all the minute positioning he'd been using, but there was a decent chance that it could have been a 217. Either way, Color Wanted making an aggressive move to try and go up against these 215s with Blue Mini and create some sort of southern fight that they wanted to be more in their favor, but I'm really concerned about how well this is going to work out for them.
Master Pupil taking a little bit of damage. Blue Mini does get to get into position there with only taking a couple shots in that E5. Now, looking where Blue Mini is at, does he want to stay here for the fight, or is he trying to get to another position? Is this like step one?
It is essentially step one. He is going to get into a position, very likely. Yep, he's just going to be right about here. And he's just going to try and proximity line everybody that comes in around him to provide the rest of his team the angles and the information that they need to get the shots in. Because if you take a look over at where Smiley Rage is, for example, K0 and his T22, you can see him right back here.
Okay.
He has shots in through a lot of these buildings into this area on these guys, depending on where he is, but they're not shots that he can also do the spotting from.
Oh, okay.
And if they are, they're places that he would get spotted back. So it's important to have somebody else spot for him.
Oh.
But it's all going to be irrelevant very soon, and Blue Mini goes down.
Draw cap taking 509. Color Wanted going to try to protect this E5 from the Delta Village here. As Drock and Master People try and take down Blue Mini. A couple shots going on to him. Drock with 902, one more, and he'll be going down. He'll have a shot up, 364, not up to Blue Mini. Can Blue take on Drock before he goes down? He does just in time. Master People take him down, but he does find Drock Cab, and that has caused the trigger to be pulled. Smiley Rage goes down to T1 Diabetic there, and that is two tanks fallen for Color Wanted. Just one for Eclipse, and now Master People going to continue that push toward the Delta Village to get closer, start lighting any of the other members of Color Wanted. Let's see how Dr. Halo comes in with that M40, M43 here. Master People taking down Delta, shot from behind, and then he finished him off there in that 5B. That's another tank falling for Color Wanted. Eclipse now looking great to take this offense, making it potentially 4-2, and then going back on defense, this could be the start of the end for Color Wanted.
That is true, but Eclipse still has to bring this one home. While they do have a pretty strong numerical advantage, their hit points are over 2,000 is a sizable amount. But
it could be gone like that.
On Ruinberg, it can go away fairly quickly. Say you look at Magenta Panda here, he's got 1,500. If Tigers is able to pick him off from the middle, say Master People comes up and does some proximity lighting or something like that, which very likely should be going on right now if you ask me, then Tigers could pick him off. And there's 1,500 out of that 2K gap. It's over 2K, but you see what I'm getting at.
But
There's also the possibility of Dark God Zim. And they're playing a tricky game here with cap pressure to try and make Color Wanted come to them, but Dark God Zim very easily could have wrapped all the way around and picked off Baby Halo at this point in time. different styles. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong here. Magenta Panda getting absolutely lit up down the 0 line. He is one shot from death here.
Brett. No, Brett's bounce. Tigers picks it up there. Dark God Zim, though,
Ooh.
did take some damage.
If I were Dark God Zim, I'd be looking for some payback right now. Cap's obviously unimportant.
No.
It's just one waffle in between you and revenge on Dr. Halo. Do all scouts justice and go pick him off.
Let's see if he does it. He does have to get through an E100. He might be wrapping around, though. Fixer reloader, backing up into corner Delta Village. Looks like he kind of knows it's over. No waste. 5 shots is going to be everything on all these tanks. He is left there. 1 there. Just going into Master Pupil, but the rest going through. Dark God Zim, not even actually worried about Dr. Halo. He's going to come join the rest of the team to take down this waffle. And now Dark God Zim. Let's see if he does it.
He's going to eat it in the face.
Let's see if he,
Why are you playing games with a nemesis,
TD.
man?
Oh, there
you're
it is.
so lucky, Dark God
631. Brett
So lucky.
takes down Dr. Halo, but Eclipse is going to now pick up their 4th victory of our first match of the night. I mean, so was that a low roll?
Dude, I'll put it this way. If I had been in that RU-251, that
Gone.
first splash would have killed me from like 15 meters. Don't play games with the
He
nemesis.
knew. Hey, that's called
all right?
that's called
You don't play games
straight
with
up
that.
skill.
That's crazy.
Straight up skill, no doubt. But a fan.
Gotta learn how to deflect that HE. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
you just wiggle a little
Please.
bit and you're good. You're all good.
Please.
Fantastic pick up there. Now Eclipse 4-2. Just needs 1 more to take it home. David, stats?
Yep, let's do it.
Let's go to stats.
T1 Diabetic in his TVP. 3.4 thousand damage. Master Pupil 2.8. Mort 2.6. Everyone else going below 1.5.
Breaking
but
the K.
over 1,000.
Great spread.
That's a good game. Damage caused player assistance 1.9. Not bad. Over here for Color Wanted, they just struggled. I mean, you can look at it. Only 2 people even breaking 1.5. Magenta Panda and Smiley Rage 1.6, 1.6 each. Delth right behind them with 1.1.
Yeah.
Even Fixer Reloaded, actually, in his W100. Only 2 connected for 1.1.
Just not working
On
out
his
that
own.
time.
But 2 fired and 2 hit.
Not enough. Not
Nope,
enough.
not when you're not a loader.
And looking at kind of what Eclipse did there, they were going for the northern or the split cap. You know, they might have missed their opportunity. Then they just gave up on it. They decided to wrap back around.
Yeah.
I mean, that usually seems like, wow, that entire time could have been Caller Wanted getting into better positions or finding information. But it is hard to get that information from those guys. I mean, they didn't know the couple tanks were over in the north. Obviously,
Sure,
they weren't aggressive
sure.
to know they had a guaranteed overmatch. So I mean, Eclipse doing a great job of just denying that information, which allowed them to buy that time to pull out and surprise them all down there in the south. Ladies and gentlemen, Eclipse just needs 1 more victory to take it home. Let's see if they can do it, or can Color want to keep going? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
Eclipse with 250Bs, 2 215s, an E5, a Bat Chat, an RU-251. Color Wanted with an STB, 2 T22s, 2 TVPs, 2 T54s. They've got to be doing one of 2 things, Color Wanted is.
Okay.
They're either blitzing the A-line or they're blitzing Delta Village in the south. I would prefer the south if I were taking,
They're going
any
south right now.
lineup. That appears to be the answer. Well, my only comment on this, I guess, is go big or go home. And we're going to find out one or the other. But they've apparently actually faked out Eclipse right now. Eclipse looking at that and thinking similar things to me, but assuming it was going
On the
to be
other side,
A-line.
yeah.
However, Eclipse is doing something very smart here. They've got a lot of motion into the A-line area, and they should know relatively soon if anything's coming there or not. And actually, they're now starting to fall a little bit behind the timetable. They needed to already be shifting back to Delta Village. If they try it now,
they
they're
know
going to
now.
get absolutely murdered there in the middle. It's going to be tricky to get back and stop Caller Wanted from bringing this back a little bit, 3-4.
Well, let's see, as a lot of the members are lit up, and now Eclipse definitely knows what Caller Wanted is trying to do. Dark on Zimar taking some damage on the side of Eclipse there in the R251. He's got to get out of there, and quick, as he dodges the shot from Aggressor, and a second one from that 50-51 Aggressor, just going to cut his losses and start clipping immediately. Blue Mini taking
at
3-4.
that.
What'd you see?
Well, the Eclipse just gets to drive through the north.
Oh.
Merry Christmas.
No
That's
pun-
a dream
no-
situation.
no punishment.
You get completely caught out, and you just get forgiven for all your sins.
I don't know. Draw count taking 1236 there in that 5B. Magenta Panda, though, 775 in the T54, 1171. A couple more shots, and he'll be going down there, 1592. Who's going to take it down? Who will be going down first? Will it be Mort? Will it be Magenta Panda? What do you guys think? Give a couple seconds to let us know before it actually happens. Mort is on reload. Aggressor not quite up there yet. Magenta Panda is being careful. or it might be a third-party member. Car Wanted and eClipse both pretty close in HP. eClipse up over 1,000 though. Brett taking some damage, and the Delta Village battle has never been more real. Mort 320 from the back. One more shot, and it's going to be Mort going down. Fix Reloaded might have that. He does. He takes him down in that T22, and that is the first tank fallen for eClipse, but Color Wanted has been bleeding HP left and right. Tiger takes on Fixer. Draw Cab takes down Aggressor, and that is now a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of eClipse. Tiger's doing a fantastic job lighting people up in that 50B as Brett takes down Dr. Halo. Druck finds Stealth. Master of People finds Magenta Panda, and it looks like eClipse is going to take this victory. It's going to be their 5th, and they're going to find the first match of the night going to them. Master of People finds a kill. Smiley Rage trying to stay in it. Takes down T1 Diabetic, but there is nothing he can do at that point. And that is, again, congratulations to eClipse for their 5th and final victory here on their first match of the night. So, before we move on, what you said, eClipse, obviously, once they were over in the north, knowing what Color Wanted was going to be doing and decided to then push back in Delta Village, didn't get punished at all, which you said, wow.
Pushing directly through the open.
Right, so
In
Merry
my
Christmas
memory,
to that.
And yeah, in my memory, it's one of these things that you have to do for the most part. Or you sit all the way back in those buildings when people try and poke,
Then
you get
you
shots
whittle
on
them
them.
down.
But that was back when you couldn't cap in the south like that. You had to push through, and their only cap was in the north.
Huh.
Color Wanted could have annihilated them when they stepped through the middle.
My only question is, why couldn't you, as Eclipse, if you are very going heavy in the A-line, see that now the enemy is just blitzing for the Delta Village and go, okay, instead of pushing out in the open and going against them, let's just wrap around through the city and then
They'll
go
be
from
way out
there.
of position for way too long. To
Okay.
me, those tanks were too heavy. However, because they were so heavy, they had a huge hit point advantage. I mean, you could see a lot of focus fire coming out from Color Wanted in some instances, and they still didn't have enough to put down a tank.
Right.
A lot of little things. Let's just go through the stats real quick.
Let's do it.
The only way to really talk about that is to just keep watching it over and over again, because there's all these little things that you can talk
here
about.
and there. And
So
gotcha.
we don't have the time. We just don't have the time. Tigers 3,000, Draw Cap 2.5, Master Pupil 2.3, Brett 1.6. The only one not breaking 1,000 is Dark God Zim, but that is essentially his job. It's actually kind of insane that he survived.
Huh.
I mean, he got caught out right in the beginning.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of people fire at him.
Yeah.
And TVP wastes a whole clip. Delth 2.5, Smiley Rage 2.1, Aggressor 1.9, and Fixer 1.3. Rough times.
Rough,
Wanted.
rough times
But
indeed.
a good effort.
Thank
And
you.
I always like those kinds of strategies. They have merit. You just got to tweak them just a little bit. Find a way to get more hit points. Find a way to get to do things a little bit more intel.
Yeah.
Brush it up.
And then you're golden. And
Polish
good,
the edges up, and it's
and-
beautiful.
and good Muravanka play from both the teams as well. Ladies and gentlemen, first match done. Just like that. Up next, WGLNA versus Aquatic M60s. Don't go anywhere.